Elvis Presley's granddaughter, Riley Keough, is opening up about her plans for Graceland and a promise to her mother.
We were very close, so a lot of the Graceland stuff I was already involved in with her.
For over 4 decades, the upstairs of Graceland has remained a mystery, locked, untouched, and hidden from even the most devoted Elvis fans. No cameras, no tours, no exceptions. But now, Elvis Presley's granddaughter, Riley Keough, is finally opening the door to one of music history's greatest secrets. What she reveals is nothing short of astonishing. Hidden rooms, sealed letters, private recordings, and a time capsule room left exactly as it was the day Elvis died. Could there really be a tunnel beneath the mansion? Are there unheard tracks waiting to be discovered? And why has this sacred part of Graceland remained sealed for so long? Step inside the mystery with Riley as she breaks decades of silence and uncovers the truth behind the most guarded rooms in rock and roll history. Graceland isn't just a mansion, it's a story still unfolding. Graceland wasn't always a world-famous symbol of rock and roll history. Built in 1939 by Memphis printing magnate S. Étouffe, the estate began as a modest colonial revival home nestled in quiet countryside. With just 10 rooms and classic architecture, arched windows, white columns, and a stately porch, it offered elegance without extravagance. That changed forever in 1957 when 22-year-old Elvis Presley, newly crowned the king of rock and roll, purchased the home for $102,500. For Elvis, it wasn't about luxury, it was about privacy. Fame had become overwhelming, and Graceland offered a retreat. But it didn't stay modest for long. Over the next 2 decades, Elvis transformed the estate into a reflection of his personality, bold, eccentric, and deeply emotional. One of the most iconic additions was the Jungle Room, designed in the late 1960s. With green shag carpeting, even on the ceiling, carved furniture, and tropical flair, it became a personal sanctuary and a recording studio where Elvis laid down some of his final tracks. Behind the house lies the Meditation Garden, built in 1964. Now the final resting place for Elvis, his parents, grandmother, and daughter Lisa Marie Presley. It's where fans leave flowers and tributes, turning celebration into quiet reverence. Since opening its doors to the public in 1982, Graceland has welcomed more than 20 million visitors, securing its place as the second most visited private home in the United States, surpassed only by the White House. Each year, tourists from around the world flock to Memphis, Tennessee, to experience the life and legacy of Elvis Presley. They come to see his iconic stage costumes, walk the hallowed halls of his home, and stand in awe of the place where rock and roll royalty once lived. Yet, for all its openness, one part of the mansion has remained strictly off-limits: the upstairs. Locked and preserved since Elvis's death in 1977, the second floor of Graceland is a time capsule of the man himself. His bedroom remains untouched, with his clothes still hanging in the closet and the books he was reading still resting on his nightstand. Even the bathroom where he tragically passed away remains exactly as it was. To the Presley family, this space is more than private. It is sacred. Out of respect and reverence, the upstairs was sealed by Elvis's father, Vernon Presley, shortly after his son's passing. It was never intended as a mystery or a spectacle, but as a deeply personal act of preservation. Now, in an unprecedented move, Elvis's granddaughter and current custodian of the estate, Riley Keough, is sharing glimpses into that hidden world. Her revelations are not designed to shock or sensationalize, but to humanize. Riley speaks of the quiet solitude Elvis found upstairs, spaces where he read, grieved, composed music, and searched for meaning. Through her eyes, we begin to see Graceland not just as a tourist attraction, but as a home full of memories, emotions, and soul. Riley recalls visiting the house as a child, sneaking upstairs with her cousins while guests toured below. One room that made a lasting impression was Elvis's personal study, lined with books on religion, numerology, and mysticism. There, she found handwritten notes, journal entries, and even a page covered with the word "free" written repeatedly. Among the most personal discoveries was a shoebox labeled "Do Not Open," containing unsent letters, including one to Lisa Marie and another hauntingly addressed, to whoever finds this after I'm gone." Riley chooses to keep these private, but they deeply shaped her view of the man behind the legend. A man still very much alive in those untouched rooms upstairs. The bathroom where Elvis Presley died has remained untouched since that tragic day in August 1977. For decades, the Presley family kept that part of Graceland sealed, not out of morbid fascination, but out of deep respect. Riley Keough, Elvis's granddaughter, and now the steward of the Presley estate, has spoken only briefly about the upstairs rooms. She confirms the bathroom remains exactly as it was, towels and all. To the Presley family, this wasn't merely a site of death. It was a deeply personal sanctuary where Elvis spent his final moments reading, meditating, and sometimes simply sitting in contemplative silence. Perhaps the most intriguing revelation Riley has offered is about a previously unknown space within the mansion. A small meditation area known simply as the Quiet Room. Described as dimly lit, with floor cushions and the soft hum of an old sound machine, this was where Elvis would retreat to escape the pressures of fame and his internal struggles. The room had never been mentioned publicly before, and no photos exist. It was a secret space of stillness and spiritual searching, now made known through Riley's careful words. She shares these details not to shock or sensationalize, but to give a fuller, more humane portrait of the man behind the myth. For years, Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis's only daughter, kept the second floor of Graceland private. It was her way of protecting the memory of her father. After Lisa Marie's passing in 2023, Riley Keough took on the mantle of preserving and sharing the Presley legacy. But she has made it clear, the upstairs of Graceland will remain closed to the public. "Some spaces are meant to stay personal," she said, "but that doesn't mean they have to stay secret." Through select disclosures, Riley hopes to invite people into a more intimate understanding of Elvis, not as a rock and roll legend, but as a father, thinker, and deeply private man. Among the more persistent mysteries surrounding Elvis's life and death is the enduring theory that he faked his death. One of the most outlandish yet enduring stories is that Elvis escaped Graceland through a hidden tunnel beneath the estate. Supporters of this theory argue that Elvis, tired of fame and deeply paranoid in his later years, sought an elaborate way out. Some claim the tunnel stretched beneath the meditation garden and out into the surrounding woods. Though Graceland's official blueprints make no mention of such a feature, especially since they curiously exclude the entire second floor, the rumor has never completely died. In 1987, a freelance journalist claimed to have found a sealed concrete passageway on the property. Though no physical evidence was produced, the story spread rapidly. Speculation intensified after a 1978 sighting of a man resembling Elvis boarding a plane under the alias John Burroughs, a pseudonym Elvis had famously used in the past. Since then, supposed sightings have ranged from fast food restaurants in Michigan to remote DMV offices across the country. Further adding fuel to the conspiracy are inconsistencies on Elvis's death certificate, most notably the spelling of his middle name, Aaron, instead of the more commonly used Aaron. For some believers, this discrepancy serves as a coded message. Others see it as a simple clerical error. Either way, the lack of clear public visibility into Elvis's final months, coupled with the strict privacy around the Graceland upstairs, keeps these theories alive. Riley Keough, however, chooses not to feed the frenzy. She doesn't make it her mission to confirm or deny every story. Instead, she takes seriously her role as guardian of her grandfather's emotional and spiritual truth. For someone who lived so publicly, she once said, maybe keeping part of himself hidden was the only privacy he ever had. In that sense, the mystery may be less about deception and more about protection. Elvis's final attempt to retain a part of himself away from the spotlight. The story becomes even more tangled when considering the individuals who have come forward over the years, claiming to be Elvis Presley's secret heirs. Some arrive with photos, supposed DNA evidence, and stories of secret relationships. While most of these claims are easily dismissed, a few have reached the courts. One man even attempted to have Elvis's body exhumed for a DNA test, a request denied. Another alleged daughter submitted a hair sample from a lock of Elvis's hair purchased at auction. The estate, however, dismissed it as unreliable and insufficient. Despite airtight legal structures, rumors of secret heirs persist, especially ones alleging Elvis fathered children during the height of his fame. These rumors often cite hush money, late-night calls, and hidden letters. What remains clear is this: Riley Keough now bears the immense responsibility of shaping the future of the Presley legacy. At only 34, she balances legal authority, public interest, and family emotion. She manages the estate's finances, Elvis's intellectual property, and even decisions about historical preservation. More than a steward of Graceland, Riley has become its voice, determining not only what is remembered, but how it is told. Whether or not a hidden tunnel exists, or a secret heir ever emerges, the legacy of Elvis Presley will remain in the hands of his granddaughter. In choosing what to reveal and what to protect, Riley isn't just preserving history, she's shaping it. If you found this glimpse into Graceland as powerful as we did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that go beyond the headlines, into the heart of the icons we thought we knew.